call me, I used to call. I used to call. I used to
call. Alright, yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another breakdown video. Today we're going to be looking at my song Bad Intentions that just released on the Otherworld Outbreak compilation. It's out now. You should go listen to it. A lot of awesome artists on this compilation. I'm really proud to be on this. Otherworld is an awesome label. So yeah, this song is like, I would call it bass house, but at the same time, there's like breakbeat drums for like the actual drop part that we'll get into. So it's kind of like a mix, you know. So yeah, let's just play from like the intro here.
I'll try to make it as brief as possible. I used to call me, I used to call.
Let's get into it. So like usual, I'm going to start from the intro, work chronologically. First thing we hear is this cool vocal that I found.
I'll try to make it as brief as possible.
Yeah, I think that's sick. So just a bit of overdrive there, EQ, and then I should mention before I start showing everything, so like what's making it have that like kind of phasey sound, like honestly kind of like an auto pan sound. It is shifter on the master, and I'm changing the coarse pitch and the dry wet, and so you could kind of hear it better on like the main vocal. Kind of sounds like an auto pan, but that's just a shifter, so without it. So I kind of have glitched it in a little bit, like manually, but then this shifter is giving it that flutter effect. If I turn this way up, you could see. Pretty cool. So that's shifter on ring mode, that vocal, and then like the main vocal, and then this is kind of cool. This is our main song vocal here. I'll play it first. So this is, I took the normal vocal. I used a kilohertz tape stop. If you don't know about this plugin, it's awesome. So I reversed the vocal. I had like a really long tape stop on it to kind of fade out. I froze that, I flattened it, and then I unreversed it. So basically I just hit reverse again, and then we got this. So now that'll lead into our vocal like perfectly. I think I had like another take in here too. Pretty cool, yeah, you can get some awesome effects. If I play this background group here. So just helping to sweep in with that vocal. I've kind of trying to emulate like you're turning like a car radio on, like an old-timey car radio or something. So we have this tape cassette sound along with some noise, and then this static walkie-talkie sound, and then just an impact. Danny Ricardo impact for any F1 fans out there. And then yeah, some fuzz, you know, classic stuff. So let's, now that you kind of know all the layers, let's listen to this little lead-in part again.
I'll try to make it as brief as possible.
Alright, so we'll start with the drums here. Listen to these boys. Oh yeah, that's a house moment if I've ever seen one. So kick and clap, I should say. So we got this kick, transient shaper. So you see it was like a lot softer. Clap is a sport clap, available now on the sport mode sample pack. When this clap is hitting, the velocity of the kick is a little lower. It just sounded better to me to have the kick a little quieter. right? And then, that's cool and dandy. That's like, classic 4 on the floor, but all the perks and stuff is really what makes a house beat a house beat. See, I've always got stuff going on in both ears, which I think is important. So first, I guess we'll just start adding them in layer by layer. So we got these 2 snares that I've pitched left and right. So it has a shifter on it, which is turning down the coarse 10 kilohertz. So a lot. It's a lot of kilohertz. So the actual snare sounds like this. Like a classic trap chop snare, right? But this is kind of a cool trick with shifter. If you turn the coarse pitch either up or down, like way down, it makes any sound atonal. So I just wanted these to be more of perk hits instead of like a snare. So you have that, and then you see the second one, it's the same snare, but I've done, so we have the minus 10K, and then we went another minus 6K. So those 2 are like this. Pretty cool. I could have just grabbed the perk, right? But I don't know. Sometimes I like to mess with shifter. Oh shoot. I guess I should have set this lead in. Nothing fancy here. Just a little cashmere snare. Getting pitched down with the shifter. All right. And then the perk group. Let's play that. Sweet. So, okay, we got the 909 crash. You're going to just see a bunch of like left and right panned little perk sounds all over the place. I won't spend too much time on these. This is like the methodology here is really, you start with like the basic house beat, boots and cats, right? And then you just kind of you slot in little perks on both the ears, just like pa-ta-pa, just little rhythmical blips here and there to kind of get your groove going. So that's just how I go about it. And then of course the grounding hat, the classic house hat. Another one of these little snare hits. And then just the garage loop that I have from the sample pack. I'm just saying. Another hat loop here in the second part. So the kick only plays for these first 4 bars, and then it's kind of this like impact section with just the clap still going. Sweet. And then we're into the build, right? So what that is like a little drum fill right here. An impact with a gunshot layered. So that the house perks are still going, right? And then we get into like a little gunshot fill thing. I know I have, so the sport guns also. Oh, and then these guns too. Bunch of guns. And then back to this little snare. So something I used a lot in this project is like lasery sounds. So that's going to be kind of like these 3. Pretty cool. Just adding atmospheres there with those. See, this is an impact for that gunshot part, right? Transition, vinyl fuzz, right? A bunch of atmosphere layers. This freeze is from Labs, Spitfire Audio Labs. It's a string. And like it only goes up to like the 5th octave or whatever. So I had to freeze it and pitch it up 12. I don't know why I'm pointing with my finger. You can't see that. Pitch up 12 to get it like super high, right? So see if you could hear that. Yeah, it's way up there. For the intro sub, it's this sport bass pluck that I use a lot. Nice. So yeah, you could see I'm automating most of these envelopes to just, like, it starts here, right? Closed off and centered, and then by the end of it, it's much bigger, much louder. This EQ is sweeping the low end whenever I don't want it. And then this one is just shaping, like, if you can even just look to see why I did this boost. I usually don't boost lows of stuff. And when I say lows, I mean sub. I usually don't boost sub, but this sub is literally lower than the harmonics of this sound. So that's all right. It sounds good, but I wanted to give him a little bit extra punch in this intro part. And then just a big midsection scoop here pretty much. And, I've kind of explained how I EQ things in my other two videos, but it's an iterative process. I mix as I go. So like maybe this EQ was on one day, came back, did some other stuff to the song, added these two EQs, came back 3 days later, added these. Like I don't really like to touch what I've already done, so I just add on EQs. And then the vocals here, last part to this intro.
I used to come. One time I spin up this song book like I used to come. Yeah, I used to come. Yeah, I used to come.
Yeah, so quite a few layers in this vocal group here. So the main vocal is this.
I used to come.
Why I used to call. And kind of, let me have a little nerd moment here, right? So this vocal is in G minor, although the key of the song, as we do on the Sport Mode channel, is a D minor song. But I'll put like I think it's called the Camelot wheel or something, the rainbow music thing. I'll put that on the screen, but basically D minor and G minor they're like best friends right next to each other. So they have all of the same notes except for D minor doesn't have the D sharp, G minor does, and then I think also like the A sharp is only in D minor or whatever. Anyways, they have almost all the same notes, so I didn't even have to pitch this vocal down to be in D minor. Plus, I'm going out of key with the pluck bass to D sharp anyways. Over and over, and then eventually. So it's like I'm in D minor, but I'm borrowing this D sharp from the G minor scale, and the vocal is in G minor anyway, so it's like it's chill with that. But what that allows me to do is, so this was like the G minor vocal, and then here for this sound, or for this vocal, for this one I actually did go down 5, and I saved that +5 version of it for later in the song, like all this stuff. So I don't know, it kind of worked out. I got like a free harmonic layer out of the one vocal just because the key I was using was like pretty spot on for the vocal, if that makes sense. Anyways, enough of that random rant. This is like a little breath here with some delay on it. It's such a minimal little touch, but it's pretty cool. So I got a little bit of a call and response going here with the vocals, these two. Just a pad I made out of the vocal. And then this is a cool sound. So I just chopped it, auto pan, reverb, classic background stuff. Also put it in key. So yeah, that's a cool little like soul vocal layer that I found. See, we got the rude boy. And another rude boy here. Sweet. I've used this one before, like a trap vocal one shot. And I've also used this sound in my last breakdown. That high-end screechy sound. Not screech, but like a high-end tonal layer. It's kind of cool. So I use that a bunch. And then this is not a vocal. Don't ask me why it's in this group. Alright, so yeah, let's listen to the whole build first. Alright, sweet. Let's go over these drums. Same kick and snare. Cool. So what we're doing there, reverbing that snare out. I think, yeah, on the whole group also, we're EQing out the lows. Same thing is going to be for the sidechain group. Some crashes on the downbeats. The garage top loop from the intro is going to fade out. You can see this pause here is for that like record scratch sound that's in the sidechain group. And then the pre-drop is the gunshot. Cool. So yeah, super simple build drums there. Sidechain group. You know, if you've seen my other two breakdowns, it's a lot of the same stuff. This like white noise riser thing. And then we got a bit of transient shaper on that. And then here in the synths group is going to be finally some of our drop sounds. So this freeze is from this plugin called Rave Generator. So you can see this is a free plugin with like a whole shit ton of awesome old school rave sounds. Pretty awesome layer. And then this is like our drop bass. So that's just, I just recorded it to audio and applied a filter and some reverb to it. This is same thing just for the pre-drop. And then it's the same sub here. Although this is pretty cool. So I think this actually happened by accident, but one of these envelopes I opened way up to kind of lead into that Vandals kick thing. So oh man, I love how that turned out. So that is filter cutoff and the sustain of the patch. So like this, yeah, let's just watch what this does. Pretty awesome, yeah. So that's like, if we listen to that in context, that's what's sweeping us into that like kick thing, or the, you know, that little moment here. Sweet. Yeah, so layered with that is this little sub drop, so that's why I'm EQing out the low end from this first part of the, and then the last thing here for the build is the vocals. So a lot of this stuff is repeats. The one interesting thing here is this layer, which is, I'm sure you could hear, it's just a chop of this vocal put into granulator with a frequency shifter to turn into a riser. Sweet. All right, so with that, we're ready for the drop. Let's get a quick listen, refresh the ears. Alright, so let's break down this drop section by section. So there's three main sections. You got the fakie, and then you'll have the actual drop kind of repeating twice here. And then you'll have this 2-bar turnaround thing with like the house drums. And then back into it. So that repeats twice, then we have a switch up and then like a bit of a drum outro. So yeah, let's go section by section. First section for the drums is easy. It's just a kick and the perks. Only one of the perk loops this one. With that is going to be like the bass house type sounds. Cool. So yeah, we'll go start from the top. So white noise here, like this sound, and then these like record scratch things. So yeah, so these 4 layers are like the meat of that. So this stuff. And we're just going same thing, D to D sharp. So layer by layer here, this one is literally just the serum in it. I wanted a nice mono, super simple. The next one has a little bit more stereo. It's just, I use this patch a lot. Good for like future bass, mid layers. So it's just an Ike and has kick with an in it. No effects, no nothing. Super simple. And yeah, that warbly stuff, we'll talk about that in a second. Let's just do layer by layer first. This is like an interesting thing on this one is that the fine of the first oscillator is down by 20. Messing with the fine is kind of cool sometimes to just make it ever so slightly out of key, add some grit. So that's that layer. This one's quite stereo. And then this last one is this Init Lad patch I have that I showed off in probably one of the other 2 videos. It's a lot of EQing to fit it in, right? But again, it's just like basic shapes, no effects, very wide, very white, noisy sound. So these 4 layers together, you got this. And then also with the sub. Sub, super simple. A little bit of saturator, cutting the low mids. EQ dropping down, so then the vocals. It's the why do you still call, and it's going to be reverbed and faded out. So reverbed and faded out, but also notice this EQ here closing it up. And then yeah, this, I guess I didn't really go over the processing of any of this, but it's pretty much the same as what I always do. Clean space rack, overdrive, some EQing. And if you don't know, the clean space rack is a nice way to add space to your sounds available on my Gumroad. What it does is, if you kind of look at that shape, so while the dry signal is taking up the space, the wet signal is getting pushed down. And this is just a lot cleaner of a way than just throwing reverb and delay on your sounds that really muddy it up. Like I save just a normal reverb for when I'm doing like a throw like that, or like here especially. Alright, so now like let's talk about what's doing this kind of warbly effect. It's same thing I was using in the intro. It's gonna be this dry wet on the shifter and also the chorus of it. I'll go like way up so you could really hear it. So it's like, it's kind of a crazy effect, but if you fine tune on ring mode, it's important to mention it on ring mode. It just doesn't do this effect on the other modes. But yeah, messing with the chorus and the dry wet kind of like flutters the sound. Now the next part is like, I guess the actual drop where the drums are slapping and shit. Right, and then we're back into this repeated part. So same kick and snare as the intro. I keep saying snare, it's a clap. So yeah, it's seen these layers already, right? Guess I added this little laser here and a snare, kind of fade in. Gives you that good suck right into the snare. What can I say? Yeah, a couple of little perks here. Support clap. And then the perks are absolutely bussin' here. Cool. Let's see. Yeah, different layers from the intro. Mainly just really like transient heavy hats. It kind of just sounds off to the sides. Little perk hits. Got a shaker down here. Another little loop here. Fitting it all together. Yeah, I probably just started with this one loop. Right? And just kept adding onto it as needed until we ended up with... Right, so that's the drums for that part. And here's the sidechain group. Sweet. Yeah, and then same thing repeated there. But yes, we got like some sweeps. Look, cool little rewind sound I have. You've seen these three. And then so that rave stab's gonna be going all drop long. This is a laser going again between the ears. And then a little rhythmical blip from one of the sounds in my sample pack. So yeah, so here's the original. So this little blip came from this sound. So I literally just grabbed like probably that part of it. Yeah. And just kind of made it into like a little blip on top of the rhythm. And then in the mid bass group, here's our bass sound. First sound here. So that is this sound that I froze, but I'll unfreeze it so we could look at it. 80s bass sound with a lot of saturator on soft side mode, doing a bit of a reverb throw towards the end here. And then let's see, yeah, taking out the lows, taking out the highs, and this is kind of cool here. I'm moving this EQ point to just sweep. And if we make this like louder, we can really hear the effect. So it's like cool little effect there, just moving an EQ point to go either up or down, add some cool tonality. And then this next layer. This is like a FM, yeah, like a classic FM from B-Bass that I made a long time ago. Sounds pretty mono. Doing the same sweep thing. Yeah, a lot of the same processing. Just another sound. They work well together. And then last one here. That's the main one, right? Like that's where all of the high end and the sizzle is coming from. So we got these three together now. Each playing their role in that part, and then the sub. And the sub does have, if I open up this patch, it does have this like LFO one on the master tune here, giving it 24 semitones of pitch bend. Makes it a little more punchy. And then what's making it rhythmical is just a utility. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just a utility. So the second, this happens like pretty much repeats twice, but the second time it's just some different layers. So we have this one. That one kind of sounds like a race car to me. Pretty cool. Shifter, making it kind of wobble. And yeah, a lot of reverb you could hear on there, throwing it at the very end. So yeah, the second part has the rhythmical blip sound, but also like this laser on top of it. For the vocals, it's pretty dry, just these like breath sounds. And then little hits of the vocal. I was saying earlier how the drop has kind of 3 sections. So the third one is that little house beat turnaround. So sounds like this. Drums. Pluck bass. That with the vocals, of course. I did pitch up Yeah, I just went up one semitone on these last two. Second part of the drop is pretty much the same, I think. So the sub and mid basses, we're gonna go up an octave on this like fourth note. The other difference is now this thing is like pitched up 12. Where it was. Yeah, I guess I haven't really mentioned processing of the mid bass group, but it's pretty simple. It's just compression, a glue compressor, phaser, making it like less and less clear for this fakey part, reverb doing the same thing going up, slight EQing, and then the utilities to give it the rhythmical stuff, but then also there's one just because I think I got like a click here or something. So yeah, I think now we're ready for the turnaround part. So it starts the same with this like house pluck bass. But then we got like a little drum fill, pa 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 pa, into this Reese bass fill. Going, what's it going? D to D sharp. That with this super sick, stretched out, blood clot vocal, whatever that means. And that's gonna get the chant rack. It's like an extension of the clean space rack. So if you have the clean space rack, you can make the chant rack. Yeah, and then like same thing I've been doing the whole song is messing with the shifter on the ring mode. I'm doing this like auto pan stuff.
Sport mode.
So let's just play the switch up quick. Yeah, so we got the house drums doing their thing. Reese boys, I'll call them, are gonna have a new note going up to an F. And then back down. And then the whole rhythm changes, so we're not doing that like long boy sound anymore. We're just gonna do these guys. There's some other stuff, so we're doing the blips are also in here. Could actually just find out what this was. I don't know, honestly. It was probably some bass I tried that then I just ended up chopping up. So we got this sound, kind of like a downbeat sound for my sample pack. Super full. So that is going to replace the rave stabs. So we had those, but then like for this part I wanted it to be a little more intense. So now we have this. And then, yeah, so we got all our little blips here, all playing their part. You could see, do this a lot, pitch left and right. Little dudes chilling. Vocal, yeah, a lot of the same. You know, we got the classic.
Sport mode.
Got a little come on here. Going kind of rhythmical. We'll check this, you know the drill. One thing I did forget to mention is like this second part of the drop. I'm just using a different sub, one with more of a punch. One thing that I forgot to mention for all these sounds is they're being pitch bent down. Two semitone pitch bend from D to C. So that is pretty much the switch up. And then we go into this like outro of the drop section. So let's see, we got this guy. Everyone's gonna be auto panned now. We got this guy. holding that 16th note rhythm here, and it's going to fade out slowly. Both the time and the dry wet are being automated up and then back down to kind of create this transition. That, and also the shifter is also doing the same thing I've been talking about this whole time. Yeah, so that just, it kind of makes it a little bit more of an interesting transition, in my opinion, rather than just cutting them or something. A little Reese going on. So that's going to be with this analog synth sounding patch, just doing triads. I love this part. It gets really beautiful here. I'll actually play from end to like this whole part. Sweet. So yeah, love this part. As you can see up here, wide kick moment. That's right, I'm breaking the rules. We're doing wide kicks, literally 50, pan 50 right and 50 left. Why? I don't know, because I felt like it. And all I did was delay this left channel one by 18 milliseconds to make it sound wide, but it's the same kick. This kick, here, let me play a mono if that's like causing weird stuff if you're listening on your phone or something. But this kick is sweet. This is one I made. It's in my new sample pack. Go cop. You know the drill. So we got the wide kick moment, and then up here, this is just going to be like a transient. These three layers are pretty cool. It's like just static and radio noise. Just a whole bunch of noise, fitting it in kind of nicely, tying into this, like, I don't know, the theme for the song for me is like kind of like a old schooly sound, listening through like a really old car radio. I don't know why, but that's just kind of what I was going with. So that and like some pads we're bringing in this section. These are both from my sample pack. I'm panning one to the left, one to the right. Yeah, so I have a bunch of these in the sample pack. It's like just pad layers to fill out these kinds of sections, or even just drops, just good for filling out sections in songs. They just hold one note. The analog synth sound, chorus, make it even more of a fluttery sound, phaser, add to that old school feel. And then we just changing the notes up a little bit in the second part. And that part holds for a little bit in the rebuild. Sweet. I feel like I started this very chronological, but now I'm kind of all over the place. So let's finish up with the drums up here first. So here's the wide kick moment drums. Right, and the second part we get like a little shaker going. The snare of this section is from this loop, but I just wanted it on its own channel to give it a bit of transient punch. I love this section, and then the last part really to cover here would be the vocals. Yeah, so like this one's down 5, and then originally it was like this. but I just snapped that off and instead went down to 3 instead of 5. And then obviously you could hear a whole bunch of delay on these. So let's see what we got here. That needs to get off the screen. Overdrive, fresh air, sport mode, soothe rack available now. These vocals have a lot of high ends, so I'm using the soothe rack I made to just tame that a little bit. Little pro Q. Yeah, so we got the clean space rack where all the delays coming from, and then reverb, chorus, one on classic mode, and one on vibrato, giving the vocal a little bit of shake, just a little bit, and then just a final EQ. Play the build here since we're already here, and we'll start talking about it. So as you can see here, I'm kind of layering the two vocals. I also moved this one from being center. As this like breakdown section went on, I'm moving them out right because these are going to be on the left side now. So I got like a harmony layer going now. And then yeah, so it's other than that, it's going to be pretty much the same stuff in the builds. We're doing a delay thing here with the rebuild, kind of how I was doing in this transition. If I make this like way up, you'll really hear what it's doing. It's like a phasery sound almost, but that's just what happens when you automate the milliseconds and the dry wet around. It's a pretty cool effect. You should mess around with it. And then also we're doing a little bit of auto pan here at the end. Add some extra intensity to this build, but it's pretty similar. And this one has a bit more time to flow out of this section. See, like the drums take a lot longer to start kicking in because I just wanted to have a little moment to regroup after all that. Yeah, so that's build number 2. Now, to be honest, drop 2 is, I usually make them pretty different, my drops, but this one was kind of a copy paste other than a couple things. The drums are going to be the same now. The mid basses are the same layers, but now we're just doing, again, a different note. So D to D sharp to F and then to G. So that's the new one. This stays the same. And the only other difference here is doing a little bit more of chopping with the vocals. Yeah, so that's the song. So like I had here, that like static fuzz sound. The vocals kind of saying, well, I used to call. I kind of try to play off of that and have this like telephone ending with some like button sounds to end things off here. But yeah, that's it. That's the song. Master rack. Let's see. So we got utilities, just doing the build up stuff. Shifter, all the transitions. Auto pan, a few of the transitions. Delay, a few of the transitions. So this is a mid-side cut. Everything under 200. I usually use Pro Q on linear phase mode, but it makes the project slow. So for this, I just threw this on here. And then a G clip. Usually I just kind of stop with a G clip, but I wanted a little extra punch out of this one. So I'm just crushing it that extra 1 decibel. And then span, mini meters. And this is just for visuals. I'm just going down 6 here because like OBS makes Ableton way louder than my voice, so I'm trying to fix that. Oh, and then this, I gotta show this off. What am I thinking? This is the best rack I've ever made. It's the Sport Club Rack, and it makes it sound like you're in a porta potty at a festival, at like a bass festival, right? Next to the EDM stage. So let's let's play the drop with this on. Nah, dude, like, listen, you guys gotta try to put this on your songs. Super simple, just copy this. Sounds like you're way in the back of the crowd of like at a music festival when the speakers are really loud, and it's being recorded through a Nokia phone. And I use this just for fun. If I've been making a song for like 2 days straight, I want to hear it differently, I guess you could say. It's a good way to see if your song would sound good live. It's not that realistic, but I don't know, I just think it's funny, and it's like a bass boosted version. Kind of clears your palate, if you will, resets your ears. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I think that's everything I wanted to cover in this song. So hope you guys learned something. Hope you enjoyed. Go stream the song and the compilation. All the other artists on this comp are awesome too. Appreciate watching, and go check out my racks and sample packs. Helps me out. So thanks. See you in the next one.
Straight from the underground. Take. From the underground.